Okay, so I grew up in Grand Island, Nebraska, with my mom, stepdad, and late father, and my two younger brothers, Nick and Jacob.
Well, I'm obviously from Aurora and still live here, and went to school here and basically never left.
I met Trent through mutual friends. We were going out for drinks after work and weekends and stuff, and then we just started talking from there.
Me and some friends were out kind of bar hopping, and some of them knew her, and then we all finally got together and we kind of hit it off and we started kind of talking. And
I really liked him at first, just because anyone who just first meets him, you can tell that he can walk in a room and make friends everywhere he goes. He's always super bright and funny.
we kind of started talking on that, and then one thing led to another, and we hung out. I took her on a date one night, and we basically have hung out every day since.
We were kind of just talking, and then he asked to hang out one night for the first time. I was leaving the gym. It was like a Wednesday night, and I was so sweaty and gross, and I did not want to go. I was like, this is not going to go good. But I thought if I told him no, then he's going to think I'm not interested and never ask again. So I'm like, I just have to bite the bullet and go. So we ended up going to Applebee's, and I looked like a hot mess. But it was from there, we have spent probably every single day together since then. For me, I think it was just shortly after we started to, I guess, date. I knew, like, I've never felt this way, and I'm very independent and don't really think like I want anybody else included in my life. But with Trent, it was like, nope, I don't want to go a day without him. And then when he told me that he loved me, we had spent a long Saturday day drinking, and the end of the day came. It's like, it's late. We got back to my apartment, and he was like, wait, I don't want to go in yet. I just got to tell you something. And I'm like, okay, what is it? And he's like, I love you. And I'm like, you've been drinking all day. Let's sleep it off. We'll see how you feel in the morning. And I was kind of like, of course, internally I'm going crazy. I haven't said I love you yet, but I'm waiting for him to say it. And so next morning he's like, do you remember what I said yesterday? And I'm like, uh-oh. Yep, I think so. What was it? And he's like, I said I love you. Do you remember that? I'm like, I remember, and I love you too. And it was kind of like, I don't think he meant to probably say it that soon, but
I meant it every step of every time I've said it. I've meant it. They don't make them like her anymore. I guess they're few and far between. She's just, I guess, everything I've ever looked for in a woman, and like I said, she deals with every little last stupid thing I do, so I guess I can't complain about that. I didn't know I was gonna do. I kind of knew I was gonna do it, and then one day I was at work and I don't know if I was having a rough day and just didn't want to be there, so took off early, and I grabbed my mom and dad, and they didn't really know what was going on, and I got them in the car, and I said, we're gonna go buy a ring, and I wanted them to be there with me while I did it. And so we go and we find a ring, and my mom getting in my way and pointing out, oh, this looks good and everything. And I had something set or what I wanted in my mind for her, and we had kind of talked about it, but I must have been completely wrong with what she wanted. And so I went and I was looking at I don't know what they're called, the square cut ones, and I was looking at them, and I probably looked at everyone in the store, and I was like, those are just ugly. I said, I don't want that. And so I finally found the one that I got her, and I went right up, or I went back to it. I looked at it before, and I looked at it again, and I had the lady pull it out, and I was like, that's perfect. I said, box it up, we're leaving, and got that. And then 3 days, I think it was like 3 days later, whenever, I think it was Friday night. I don't know. She'll probably yell at me for not knowing what day it was, but it was Friday or Saturday, and I had called some friends and wanted them to kind of make an excuse, like, hey, why don't you meet us at the winery up in St. Paul, and we'll get we'll get something to eat. And I get home from work, and his girlfriend mentioned it to Nekia, and I was like, she said, well, Braden and Maddie wanted to go get something to eat up at the winery. What do you think? And I was like, yeah, that sounds fun. And Nekia's like, no, it doesn't. That's not anything I want to do. And I was just like, I was sitting in front of her on the recliner looking ahead. We were both looking forward, and so she couldn't see my facial reaction. And I'm kind of like, and so I'm kind of sitting there, and we kind of battled back and forth, and I kind of finally convinced her, let's just go do it, we don't get out. And she was doing, well, you never want to just hang out with me and Blake. And I was like, that's all I want to do. And if you just be quiet and go along with it, you're not going to be disappointed. And so her mom and stepdad have a cabin up on the river there by St. Paul. And so I had it all planned out, and I finally got her convinced to go, and we go. And that day she went to go get her nails done and everything, and she forgot her wallet, and she had to have her nails done before I proposed to her. And I mean, that's just every girl. So she was like, I'm not gonna get them done. And I was like, I'm in the pickup, I'm on my way there to bring you your wallet, don't worry about it, I'll be there. And so she got all that done, and then she got back, and she was fighting it the whole time. And we finally got up to St. Paul, and I had Braden and Maddie call and say they're gonna run late. And so I was like, well, let's just swing off at St. Paul and go check out the river. That's always fun to go look at. And there was snow on the ground, and we get out of the car, and there's kind of a decent walk down there, and you have to walk down a flight of steps. And she was like, I'm not walking through the snow. And I'm like, just walk down the snow with me, And so we walk down there, and we get down the steps, and I'm walking, and I'm ahead of her, because I'm thinking of everything I'm going to say in my head. And I get all the way almost, 5 feet from the bank of the river, and I turn around, and she's halfway up the steps. And I turn around, and she's like, I'm not coming down any farther. And she starts turning around and walks back up the steps. So I run after her, and I tap her on the shoulder. I'm like, hey, just turn around, And so I get down on a knee, and she's just like, she didn't say anything. She just started crying. And then I was like, well, will you marry me? And she was like, of course I will, And she's saying it, crying and trying to keep herself together. And I had this whole spiel I wanted to say to her and everything, and nope, she just turned around and started walking back up. And I'm like, are you not even gonna give me time to say anything? and so yeah, she said yes, and I guess I kind of had to give her what I was gonna say pretty quick. And then on the way from the cabin to the winery, it's not that far, it was only a couple miles to drive, and she's just speechless. She wasn't saying anything, and I was like, so, good, bad, what are we thinking here, And she's like, I'm just trying not to cry, we gotta go meet people. And I was like, it's good though. I was like, you can be crying and be happy,
Thank you, everybody, for coming. Thank you for supporting us this far and the rest of our lives. We are so grateful for everybody here. We're so happy to have you here celebrating. It's been a beautiful day, and here's to a beautiful life. Trent, the big day is here, finally. All of the blood, sweat, and tears, and arguments, hard work, finally paid off. You look great. Blake is adorable, as always. I'm so excited for the rest of our life, and life with you is going to be great.
Well, guys, I just want to say thank you for all coming out and supporting me and Nekia and Blake and us starting our family. And, none of this would be possible without all you guys and all your support. And to Nekia, I love you, and I'm so glad we finally got this day, and especially with all the coronavirus going on and all the doubts that we had and whether or not we should keep on with our date and everything. But I think everything worked out for the best, and I can't wait to live the rest of my life with you and watch us grow old and watch Blake grow old and have all the memories in the world with you. And I love you.